It's cold. I had to show you guys something really cool that I just got. Makita JN3201. Now, this is a nibbler, okay? But it's not an ordinary nibbler. It's supposed to do up to 10 gauge steel. Well, I don't do a lot of steel, but I do a lot of aluminum, and anything that I can buy that's going to not have consumable costs, you know, not have to wait for an air compressor to build up, not have to strike an arc, not have to do any of that crap. That I do have a plasma cutter, I do have oxyacetylene, I've got skill saws, things of that nature that I run all the time to cut aluminum, but let's be honest, it's pretty dangerous. So I come across this on YouTube, but not a whole lot of Americans running this. This is kind of new. Milwaukee has one, but it's $1,000, okay? I bought this one for just a little bit over $500, and it's pretty cool. Now, right out of the box, it's fairly heavy, pretty substantial unit, but running it in the short little bit that I have, it's pretty easy to use. It's not real loud, it's not real vibrating, it's not real heavy, okay? There's two little notches right here on the top, and the top one is 13 gauge and the bottom one's 10 gauge. So if you guys are metric, the top one's 2.5 millimeter and the bottom one's 3.2 millimeter, and that's the maximum that the nibbler will handle. Not that it probably wouldn't handle more, especially in aluminum standpoint, but the chuck or the gap or the mouth of it is only that big. It will not accept material any larger than that. I've already tried. So 3/16 aluminum won't fit because that's like 9 gauge, okay? I was hoping that, hey, you know, maybe I can get it fit in there. And if I took this little shiny piece off and filed it down a couple thousandths, it would probably fit. And we might do that in the future. But for right now, I just wanted to introduce you guys to this tool. Now, just laying around right now, this is 0.100, okay, aluminum, 5052, I do believe. But all you do, I don't really have another hand, and we're doing this on a cell phone right now, so just line it up where you're wanting to cut. Now, it's real easy to cut a straight cut. Okay, that's pretty easy. Okay, I didn't have a straight line, just cutting some raw material here. So that's 0.100. All right, gonna be right about 13 gauge. Okay, if you're looking at steel. I have cut 1/8 inch aluminum with it, no problem. Does it just fine. Haven't cut any steel with it yet. Like I said, I don't have a whole lot of steel with me. This is kind of a remnant of 1.5 inch by 4 inch rectangular tube, and I think it'll fit in there just fine. Now this is supposed to be 1/8 wall, so that's right about 10 gauge. I'm not for sure that I can even do this right here, face to the camera like this, but let me try. Wow. Okay, the end of it just pinched a little bit because it's kind of a half moon. You can see where we went through, and it just left the slightest little half moon there, so I had to back the machine out. But I'll tell you what, let's just go right beside it, and I'll take another one right here, try to get the camera to be able to see it. There you go. That's pretty impressive. That's 1/8 inch steel. Okay, I'm going to call it 10 gauge. Might not be quite 10, maybe it's 12. And you can see the little half moon bits were actually falling down in my hand. Yeah, they were hot, but they weren't excessive. Okay. the machine itself, I can touch the die, okay? It's not hot. It's really safe tool. Just right off the bat, the way I've been running and everything, you can see that I'm out of position over my head, not even lining it up. The downside, the die behind the cutter, okay, it's just a round cutter that's, oh, let's call it 5/16 in diameter, and that half moon, or that C, this piece back here behind it, is about 7/8 of an inch long. The problem being is it's almost as wide as that 7/16 punch going down through the die. So straight lines are no problem. Slight little bends over a long eclipse, okay, that's not going to be a problem. Curves, they're a no-go, okay. It's pretty much a straight cutting tool. Haven't tried it a whole lot, but I cut just a little bit and starting to get some feedback, and I can tell that the material is rubbing on the die, okay, die, punch, whatever. It's yeah, you got the point, right? So it's got replaceable brushes. It's got an Allen key here to be able to remove and replace the punch and die assembly. Now, I have seen those online as replacement parts, so I know you can get them. They won't be cheap, and I don't know what the lifespan is of a punch and die set on this 10 gauge nibbler. But think about all the consumables you're going to go through with a plasma cutter. Think about the cost of a plasma cutter, first of all, which is going to be 3 times this. And don't have to mess with the air compressor. Don't have to, have a dryer to be able to run your plasma cutter that much. Now, is it a direct replacement for a plasma cutter? No, not really. Not at all. But if you can get this in, into position in a space to make a cut, it's quick, it's safe, and hopefully it's going to last a long time. Now, like I said, as far as I can tell, it's not widely spread across America that, this tool exists. They are out there in industrial settings. However, for a home shop user, I like it. I think it's awesome. Now, between $500 and $600, that's not terrible. It's high for a power tool, sure it is. But you look at the alternative, there's only one other that I could find that was a reputable brand, and that's Milwaukee, which I would love to have had a Milwaukee, honestly. But for $1,000, no. Let me grab a tape measure real quick. I read online, but I forget. So this die is just under 1.5 inches. So if you need to cut a square out of a large sheet, you can drill 1.5 inch hole, okay? Fit this die down in there and start cutting out your square, okay? It'll do that, no problem. There are ways to get around it. You don't have to go all the way in on the side, but hey, new tool. Had to tell everybody about it. Pretty excited, as you can tell, but man, I think it's going to save me a lot of headache and be safer for one guy working by himself in a shop as well. So actually see my breath, it's that freaking cold out here. Yeah, just got it in the mail, had to come out and check it out. I'm not turning the heat on, not doing anything today, but yeah. Now, one thing to note, if you're still with me, this is the JN3201, not the JS3201. The JS is a shear. Now, it will do curves. I'm not for sure that it will do as thick of gauge as this will do. But the reason I went with this over a shear is the shear has an anvil and then it has a knife that comes down at an angle. Well, while it does that, it distorts the metal, okay? And since I'm doing aluminum, in my mind, that shear is probably going to distort the aluminum to the point to where I'll be able to notice it. Or I'll have to, pound on it down flat to get it back to its original shape. So I don't do a whole lot of curves and cuts. If I do, I can, you know, always resort back to the skill saw. But for me, I wanted that nibbler now, and as you can see, being able to do that through steel, that's pretty freaking awesome. So guys, check it out. If you like what you've seen here today, don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, smash the like if that's what you're into. And there it is, the JN3201 from Makita. Enjoy.